Good afternoon. This is Doug Browne with Farm Bureau Insurance, reaching you from my office over here on Martin Parkway, M5 Martin Parkway in the roundabouts. If you joined us earlier, we did experience a bit of technical difficulty there. My IT guy told me that I was broadcasting using my best Alvin and the Chipmunks imitation. So if you heard about no-fault auto reform, this now is the real thing. All right, a couple things that we want to be covering today, starting out with issues regarding personal injury protection. And one of the things you want to be aware of here is that personal injury protection is a portion of your bill. If you heard the governor's announcement yesterday, she described the fact that the PIP coverages are going to be decreasing in cost even more than was originally determined by the legislature when they passed this rule last spring. The numbers that we know right now have to do with the fact that we were expecting a 10 to 45% reduction in the cost of PIP protection, and we're seeing slightly higher numbers there. Anywhere from 15% to as much as 45%, 54% in fact, depending on which level of protection you choose to go with. Now, there's one thing I want you to remember. The reductions in costs that I just described have to do with the personal injury protection, the PIP protection part of your bill. That percentage is normally 10 to 20% of your overall bill. So if you're seeing a 20% reduction on a, let's say you've got a $1,000 every 6 months bill, roughly $2,000 or $200 of that is going to be PIP protection. If you get a 10% reduction there, that is going to be approximately $20 per every 6 month period. So it's not a huge reduction. Instead, we'll be deriving greater reduction from some of the items that you see on your screen right now. And here's why. If you look at unlimited coverage going into the future is going to involve a reduced MCCA charge, which we'll cover later, reducing your coverages by as much as $120 per car annually. If you choose other limits, whereby you no longer have unlimited coverage, you're going to see your reduction as much as $220 per car per year. And these are factors that are going to come into your decision as we get closer to your renewal date. So what we're looking at here is what Farm Bureau's page 2 format will look like, where you as a client of the Browne agency or any one of our 400 other agencies around the state, you will choose the PIP protection that you want, Section B PIP medical coverage. You can choose option 1, unlimited coverage like you currently have. Option 2, reducing down to $500,000 per person per accident. You can see option 3 there as well. Option 4, only allowed if you can, as you see further down below, provide qualified health coverage proof, which would allow you to pursue a opt-out clause, options number 4 and 5, and even 6. These decisions will be yours as we move forward, but again, they're going to be coupled with decisions as to the pricing, and that's where you're going to make most of your decision. So the next thing that I want to talk about is item number 2 in our series, bodily injury liability. Why do I write about how that you don't get to pick the other guy's coverage? Because you don't. You're in an accident in the middle of the street in December. Somebody slid on black ice, for example, and the police and the courts found that you were responsible, you were liable. Well, the other guy in the previous slide, let's say he chose a lower level of coverage, maybe 500,000, or as a better example, 250,000 per person, as you see in option number 3. What happens now is that his medical coverages, let's say, exceed a level of your coverage, his coverage of 250. So let's say he's got a $750,000 medical bill. His first $250,000 are paid by his plan. Where did the other 500,000 go? And who's picking that up? That's where we get into this issue. What is first party versus third party, and why should you care? A first party claim, quite simply, is where this guy, the adjuster, comes out and looks at your car and pays you, the first party, the money to have it fixed. That's not going to be the case in the future, however, because remember, the other driver on that snowy, wintry night in December only had $250,000 of coverage. Who's he going to get the other $500,000 from? If he doesn't have enough medical coverage, PIP, for himself, he's going to turn to you. This becomes a third-party claim, and there's a lawyer in the middle somewhere, as you can see, whereby you were the responsible party, you were deemed to be at fault, okay? Somebody else suffered, however. A third party suffered. So they come through the lawyer, through you, to the insurance company, Farm Bureau, Farmers, AAA, Allstate, Farm Bureau, whomever, through you to receive damages for their loss. And the insurance company will pay them as a third party. This is key moving forward because so many of our auto claims are going to become third-party claims as we move to a hybrid of the no-fault laws. The last item I'm going to discuss today is something new. We haven't seen this before. We've always talked about the basic 3 decisions of PIP coverage, bodily injury liability, and responsible parties and designated drivers. There's a 4th item that I'm introducing today: fee scheduling. Why I'm introducing this is, as I said earlier, this is where the bulk of savings for Michigan residents is going to come from. No-fault reform changes the way that auto-related medical costs get billed. Previously, if you were injured in an auto accident, well, picture this. You are injured in an auto accident, you're brought into the emergency room, and the triage nurse says, "Was this an auto accident?" And the paramedics or you reply, "Yes, it was." And they get all excited because all of a sudden, as you can see in the second sentence, they can charge for these services whatever they please. This has led to a huge industry. Our medical industry in the state of Michigan is on the highest level, probably worldwide, because of this no-fault law. This is going to change as voted in by our House and Senate so that people can save some money. And part of that savings comes from the fact that beginning July 2nd, 2022, the fees that I just described, or I should say the fee structure where the providers charged whatever they want, that's getting thrown away. That's out the door. In the future, the fees that your providers will be allowed to charge for the services that you need, those fees will mimic the Medicare fee schedule, which is already in use. Although this change, as you can see, doesn't take place until July 2nd of 2022, notice, the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Agency has already gone out and done a bunch of actuarial work, and they already know where the cost reductions are coming from and how much they'll be, because a lot of the work that they're doing is going into the future for someone who was injured, for example, in an accident to grave injury, as I describe it, a closed head injury, a paraplegic or a quadriplegic industry, or a permanent loss of the ability to make a living, something like that, egregious things as we describe them, serious things. So moving forward, the MCCA has already said, here's our savings, and we're going to pass it on to the consumer. That's it for today. Again, we're looking at 4 main topics as we approach no-fault reform: Two primary decisions, which you recall are your personal injury protection limit and also your bodily injury liability limit. The personal injury protection, a first party claim, like we just went over. The bodily injury liability, a third party claim. Witness the word liability, where you're liable to someone else for damages you caused them. The third item here, one responsibility we discussed last week in terms of drivers in and out of your household. And if you're interested in reviewing that, you can find that on my Facebook pages, either Doug Browne or Doug Browne Agency. And we'll be publishing a YouTube location on that in the next week so that you can view past slides. And finally, today we introduced the fourth main topic here, and that's the savings that comes from the MCCA work and the reduction of MCCA charges. Those charges are on a per car basis. So if you've got a household with 6 or 7 cars, you can do nothing right now and pick up a $720, 6 cars, $1,220 per year, $720 savings. That'll do it for us today. Again, this is Doug Browne from the Doug Browne Agency in Commerce. Our phone number here is 248-486-1831. Amy and Joe and myself are happy to help you with your insurance needs, including making decisions going forward with the new change in the laws. And finally, again, you can find me at DougBrowneAgency.com. I look forward to working with all of you. Please, all of our clients, go ahead and be calling soon so that we can get you ready for this change as it occurs. Thank you very much, and have a great day.